Hi there and welcome again. Did you ever get the chance when you were younger to read a book called Small is Beautiful? It came out when I was pretty young, so quite a while ago, and it was really countercultural because in those days, back in the 60s, 70s, bigger was better, and we got that all the time. And this little book gave a separate message. And I think it fits so well into yesterday's gospel text. When the disciples come to Jesus and they say, "Master, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" And Jesus responds by calling a little child over. And he says to the disciples, "Listen, if you don't turn or change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." So we're in chapter 18 of Matthew's Gospel here, and the disciples still don't get it. They're much the same, I think, as most of us. 2,000 years of this message being proclaimed and lived, and we still don't get it. And yet one fella got it nicely recently. Well, not so recently, about 13 years ago. A fella called Richard Flanagan, a Tasmanian, Irish descent, about whom I knew nothing until last Saturday. I suppose because I was in Peru on mission all those years, 13 years ago. But he gave a talk that I was able to listen to on my YouTube the other day. And he said, if we set our compass to power, we will inevitably end up in despair. But if we set our compass to those amongst whom we live, we will inevitably be led to hope. And I was thinking how true that is to the gospel. Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Be like little children. Appreciate and value and treasure the small. In God's eyes, small is also beautiful. And I think it's a bit of a test for us. You know, in the hurly-burly and the rush and bustle of today's world, and it really is that way, do we have time to let God speak through the little things? The little people? The small events? For example, are we able to hear the warble of the magpies as they strut across the lawn? Are we able to take in the perfume of the jasmine hedge as we walk down to the train? Are we able to notice that on that apparently dead bush there are a few flowers? Things like that. Sounds. Do we notice what is the message in that handshake? Or is it just another handshake? Or that hug? Is God able to say something to us in those little daily normal events? Or do we get a message from the smile on the girl who serves us our coffee? Can we notice? Can we let God speak? Because I'm reminded of an Old Testament passage, and I think it was the prophet Elijah. He was hiding in a cave for fear when he received the message, "Go out to the entrance because God is going to pass by." And so he goes out to the entrance and there's a mighty earthquake. But God wasn't in the earthquake. And then there was a downpour, flooding. But God wasn't in the downpour. And then finally there was a storm, thunder and lightning. But neither was God in that. And then there was a very gentle breeze. And God was present in the breeze. And I think it's a message for us today. God wants to speak. God tries to speak. God reveals himself. He is present. He is active. But not always in the big things. He's present in the daily. He's present in the little children. And a lovely story I was given on Sunday. A retired priest frequently walks down Puckle Street in Moonee Ponds. And occasionally along that street there are homeless people asking for help. And so he stops and he speaks with them. He asks them their story. He tells them his story. And he engages the person, not the problem. And I think that's also a great message for us. Don't run away from the person who has a problem, but meet the person. Whether it be a little person or a big person, it doesn't matter. God can say to us what God wants to say to us in those unexpected and unpretentious occasions and events. So let's be open. Let's be attentive. Let's be awake. And let God speak as God wants to speak, what God wants to speak, when and where. Okay? God bless you and have a great week.